Una McCormack, Riddley Walker, Personal Reflection. I'm a greedy reader. I hoover up text. I want more all the time. Now, sometimes this means that I don't always do a great job of reading, and in these cases, I don't get much more out of a book than I've put into it. Well, that's my fault entirely. I know that I should slow down, that I should savour, that I should do the writer the courtesy of taking each word at a time. But I don't. I can't. I want more. But there are some books that even before you read them, you know you're going to have to commit to them properly. That if you read at speed, if you read too greedily, you may as well not start. You know that if you take your time, if you slow down, if you give the language and the symbolism and the design the time that they need to work their strange magic on you, then you will come to the end of the book altered in some way. If you give these books permission and attention, then they will reward you. You will be transformed. Such was the case with Riddley Walker. I knew that I was going to have to commit to reading it properly. So much so, in fact, that the book sat on my shelves for 3 or 4 years before I finally read it. Sometimes, wandering past the bookcase, I'd look at the spine and hesitate, and I'd move on. Sometimes I'd stop, I'd take it down and examine the cover. I have that paperback Picard edition with reviews on the front like a medieval manuscript. I'd read all the praise over and over, and I'd think, not yet, and I'd put it back in place. And then one day I found my courage and I really read Riddley Walker. I slowed down to the pace of Riddley's voice. I let the language seep into the cracks in me. I took the time to ponder word choice, symbolism. I found a website with annotations, and I had that on screen in front of me as I went through sentence by sentence. Riddley Walker, despite the muck and the grime, is a jewel with many facets. You turn it round and round in your mind as you read, and bright sparks come off with every twist. And Riddley Walker worked a spell on me. Reading the book changed me. I read out a passage from Riddley Walker once at a book festival. I chose the section where he arrives in the crypt of Canterbury Cathedral and is so moved at the sight of the stone trees and the thought of the world and the knowledge that have been lost. As I spoke, Hoban's words began to work their spell upon the room. I became a conduit through which a vision was being transmitted. Speaking those words out loud, I understood more than ever before the exquisite artistry of this novel, the complexity of the interplay between its linguistic innovation and its mythic depths. This is a book that will transform you if you give it permission, if you give it attention, if you allow it to seep into the cracks in you. Writing this now, I feel that tingle once again that we get when we encounter great art. I hear Riddley's lament for what we've lost, for what we can never get back, for the sheer stupidity that lays waste to so much human life and beauty and endeavour. But I also hear Riddley's anarchic joy, his refusal to comply. Mr. Punch whispering in my ear. Ah, Putcha, Putcha, Putcha.